Good morning. To begin with, this presentation looks at the media and entertainment sector, specifically OTT platforms, which are currently transitioning from high growth phase to a profitability driven phase. Over the last few years, platforms have aggressively acquired users through heavy content investment and competitive pricing. However, today we see a shift. Subscriber growth is slowing, while churn rate is increasing and ARPU remains largely stagnant. Consumers today typically subscribe to multiple OTT platforms but actively engage only with one or two at a given point of time. The gap between subscription and actual usage is what leads to subscription fatigue. So, the strategic challenge we are addressing is no longer about acquiring more users but about retaining subscribers and monetizing them more effectively. Our objective is clearly defined to recommend bundling or dynamic pricing strategy that reduces subscriber churn and increases average revenue per users. With that context, I'll now explain what exactly drives subscription fatigue. To understand subscription fatigue, we conducted a churn driver analysis using consulting style root cause approach. First major driver is pricing consumption mismatch. OTT platforms typically charge a fixed monthly fee while user consumption is episodic in nature. Users binge watch a popular series and then cancel once the content is consumed, creating a high post binge churn. The second driver is content substitution. With multiple platforms offering similar genres, all format switching costs are extremely low. Consumers can cancel one platform and move on to another without losing perceived value. The third driver is payment and cognitive fatigue. Multiple auto debits every month make OTT subscription feel like a discretionary expense, and they are often the first to be cut when users reassess their spending. The key insight here is important. Subscription fatigue is not a content quality problem. It's a structural monetization and pricing problem which requires a strategic solution rather than more content spending. With this diagnostics in mind, I'll now hand it over to Aditya, who will take us through customer segmentation and pricing strategy.
Thank you, Deval. To build a right pricing strategy, it is essential to understand how different user segments consume the content and contribute to churn and revenue. So we've segmented OTT users into four broad categories. The very first, the binge watchers, who subscribe for specific shows and exhibit high churn risk. Second, the habitual viewers, who consume regularly and form a stable, high LTV segment. The third, event-based users, such as sports or reality show viewers, who churn seasonally but contribute to high ARPU during active periods. Lastly, the budget-conscious users, who are highly price-sensitive and churn frequently. The strategic insight here is that the churn and ARPU driven by different customer segments. While binge watching and budget friendly drive churns, habitual and event based users drive revenue. This creates a fundamental problem. A single flat pricing model cannot serve all the segments effectively. This mismatch directly to both high churn and under monetization. To build on the segmentation, let's now evaluate different pricing strategies available on the OTT platforms. In this slide, we compare various pricing strategies from a strategic trade-off perspective. Traditional flat subscriptions offer simplicity but result in high churn, especially after binge consumption. Ad-supported tiers can help to reduce the churn among price-sensitive users but can cap the ARPU potential. Peer bundling strategies such as ecosystem or telco bundles are effective in improving retention but often dilute margins. On the other hand, dynamic pricing models improve ARPU by capturing willingness to pay, but the risk have the customer dissatisfaction if perceived as unfair. When we evaluate these options together, a hybrid monetization model clearly dominates. It allows the platforms to balance the churn reduction and ARPU growth while managing the trade-offs across the different user segments. While this evaluation complete, I will now hand it over to Rohan, who will present the recommended strategy and its financial impact. Rohan, up to you now.
Thank you, Aditya. Based on our analysis, we recommend a hybrid monetization strategy which is based on three strategic levers. The first lever is smart bundling, such as household bundles, genre based packs, or telco partnerships. These reduce cancellation decisions and increase perceived value. The second lever is dynamic retention pricing. Instead of letting users cancel after binge watching, platforms can offer target post binge discounts or downgrade options, converting churn moments into retention opportunities. The third lever is modular add ons, such as sport passes, extra screens, or short term binge passes. These allow platforms to increase ARPU from high intent users without increasing base subscription prices. Together, these levers align pricing with actual consumption behavior, which is core strategic gap that we identified earlier. To quantify the impact of this strategy, we looked at subscriber economics. Currently, with an average ARPU of Rs 200 and a monthly churn rate of 6%, the average subscriber lifetime is about 16.7 months, resulting in an LTV of approximately Rs 2000. Post implementation, we assume a conservative 10% increase in ARPU to Rs 220 and reduce in churn to around 5.2%. This extends the subscriber lifetime to roughly 19.5 months and increases LTV to about Rs 2570. This represents a nearly 28% uplift in customer lifetime value, achieved without increasing content spend. To conclude, this analysis shows that OTT profitability will be driven by not producing more content but by monetizing attention more intelligently through strategic pricing decisions.